Assalamu alaikum and very welcome and a warm welcome to our very special guest, Hafsa Gaher, who's going to take us on a journey fit for Muslims through the land of the Serengeti, the beautiful, picturesque country of Tanzania. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, Hafsa.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having me, and apologies about last week. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. And just earlier we were talking off air, and it's interesting to know that you are based in the UK and that you run a travel agent, as it were. You're a travel operator that specializes again in halal travel or travel fit for Muslims. Tell us about your work.
Yeah, so I have an agency, as you said, a tour operator that specializes in Africa and the islands on, both sides, Indian Ocean and Atlantic as well. And most of our clients are from UK and Ireland. And I also run a network that consults and supports any professional in halal in tourism that wants to learn or wants to get involved in halal travel, Muslim friendly travel.
Right. So, how popular is this?
Well, worldwide, it's the fastest growing sector in hospitality and tourism. So it is said to grow in worth around 200 billion by 2030. And even last
Wow.
year, it was over $100 billion industry. So it is really growing. And there's that demand of Muslims wanting to see more of the world and adventure, have adventure and also have the same experience as they would back home without compromising their faith.
Alhamdulillah. Do you have an interest from non-Muslims, though, just as a matter of interest?
Sorry?
Do you have an interest from non-Muslims in halal tourism?
We do. I mean, absolutely. But so far, it's been through people wanting to learn and know what it is, because when someone hears halal, they just assume it's just the meat that's branded on their food of the restaurants, but it's just so much more. And a Muslim traveler, they look for three things. This is our research has showed this last year, which is first thing is Muslim faith base, which is food, a place they can pray, somewhere clean where we can take our wudu, and a hotel where there's no gambling and all that. And also another thing we have found, our researcher found, that Muslims are looking for community-based tourism. So we want to connect with locals. We want to spend money with local Muslim business and non-Muslims as well. And also the third thing is Islamic heritage. So we want to learn more about that place, especially places like Africa, where a lot of things have been changed because of colonialism. So what was there before? What is it at the moment? What are Muslims doing at the moment? Let's say a country that we are covering today in Tanzania or South Africa, etc.
Well, that leads us to our first question on the culture, language, and Islamic heritage of Tanzania.
So Tanzania, as many of Africa or East African countries, it's a very big country, and it's got over 100 languages and tribes. So we could start from the north, which is it's got Bantu origin. If you go to the east, which has more of Indian Ocean, so Arab culture, Islamic culture, and then Swahili was born in East Africa, mainly Tanzania as well. And then you go to south, where there's been people who have moved from Southern Africa or South Africa, some of them as well, because of the language that sounds a little bit like, is it Xhosa? I can never pronounce it. I apologize.
It's got the click. It's got the African click. Xhosa.
Yes, that's it. But the majority, the biggest tribe in Tanzania, it's I think coming closer to 20% now. It's a Maasai, which is you can see in a lot of tourism brochures. We have those Maasai warriors dancing, fighting wild animals, which is now we don't see them anymore.
Mhm, mhm. So the Islamic heritage, what more can you tell us about it?
So the majority was brought, like this was years actually ago. My knowledge was really through colonialism that let's say Zanzibar, which is the coast of Tanzania, was brought by Oman during colonialism. But
Mm,
actually, it's actually come way before that. And it was through not even war, not colonialism. It was because of trade and through diplomacy. So
mhm,
just people started talking and doing business and just fell in love with this beautiful religion.
mm. We spoke, I think it was during Ramadan that I featured Zanzibar as a tourist destination, and we were given quite a bit of history and background on the Islamic heritage there. But I think there's a lot more in the rest of the country, like you've mentioned. So, what are the interesting places that Muslims would want to visit, apart from just Zanzibar, which we can talk about, of course?
Yeah, so Tanzania, but everywhere because the national abattoirs, every meat, every where you buy the meat is halal majority there. So you can pretty much eat anywhere. But from what I said previously, travelers would want to stay where there are other Muslims or they can't stay in accommodation where they have these parties. So there's more to
Mm,
consider than food. But
correct.
the most popular destinations for Muslims are cities. You can
Mm-hmm,
land depending on where you're coming from, and while the biggest two international airports are Dar es Salaam and Kilimanjaro. So you can
mm-hmm,
stay there for a couple of days, and there's so many halal restaurants, hotels, and mosques and communities as well. And
mm,
so a typical tour that I'd put, let's say you come to me, Najma, and you want to see Tanzania, I'd
mm-hmm,
recommend you see Dar es Salaam for a few days. And then you
mm-hmm.
go and see our beautiful national parks. And from Dar es
Of
Salaam, it's
course.
easier to go to the south, which is Salou. And
Mm-hmm,
then there, why not see one of our beautiful beaches?
mm-hmm,
Which is there's most popular one, but it is Zanzibar. But there's
mm-hmm,
another island. I don't know if you've heard of it. There's Mafia, or you can
mm-hmm,
fly back to Dar es Salaam as well. There are really, really lovely beaches as well, and
mm-hmm,
one which is a little bit off the beaten track, and it's got near a 90% Muslim population. It's a really nice little town away from Dar es Salaam, an hour, I think.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's called Tanga, and if
Yes.
you're working on a tight budget because it's not as popular as other places, I'd definitely see there.
Well, that has really piqued my interest because it's about having an authentic cultural experience as well. And I think what's really nice is that you've now highlighted places we've heard of. We know they're good and beautiful, but the focus again, I said, is as I did in the introduction, that didn't say Zanzibar would be the place to go in Tanzania. But so the interaction with locals, it must be really, really a
It
wonderful
is
experience for
absolutely
tourists.
amazing. I know you said about you've covered Zanzibar, but just want to give a personal example that I've been there
Certainly.
so many times with families, with clients, and it is just that beauty of togetherness, of community. Oh,
Mm,
well, one of the days we passed there was Duhur, and
hmm,
shops were closed.
hmm.
This lady, she had her door open, and she said, "Have you prayed, sister? Come and pray with us. Come and have
Ah,
lunch with us." It was such a heartwarming experience, mashallah.
mm. And of course, the country is definitely made up of the people, and their culture, their
Exactly.
hospitality, their warmth. That would be a real experience when one travels to any country, for that matter, in the world,
E-
right? Uh,
Exactly, and actually that brings it to what, especially if sisters us traveling, with their young children, or if it's a group of women, because we've arranged tours like that previously. It's, you want to feel that, because that brings that sort of sense of security and safety as well.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, would you say that traveling in any part of Africa would be, people would be a bit hesitant, thinking it's third world, underdeveloped, is it safe?
The media has not painted it into, the most flattering image. Yes.
Right. And what about the water? Is one able to consume the water, or is it safer to have bottled water?
So I think at home, because I don't know, I should have said this from the beginning. My mom is in Tanzania. My family's in Tanzania at the moment. They're in Arusha. So we just get tap water and boil it.
Okay.
Especially for if you have elderly or children. But majority of people drink mineral water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In terms of finances, how budget friendly is Tanzania?
Sorry, what do you mean by that? If a
in
tourist
terms of,
going there?
Yeah, as a tourist, yes.
So access or changing money, you can get ATM and Biru Dishen, you can change your money anywhere. And in terms of how expensive things are, again, it depends where you are. If you're in the city, things are a little bit more. Say I mentioned earlier Dar es Salaam, Arusha, probably not as much, but example, 1 rand is at 130 Tanzania shillings.
Mm-hmm.
So your money as a South African can stretch a little bit further. As a UK, it's even,
much more.
even more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, if there's one bucket list place for me, we have many, but when we talk about Tanzania, it's of course the Serengeti National Park.
Absolutely.
When is the best time to visit? Before you answer that question, let's take our first break, and when we come back, we find out about the Serengeti with our very special guest, Hafsa Gaher.
Thank you, Najma.
Rehan Karim, Muad and friends coming to your city in November 2022.
I'm grateful for every single thing you've given me.
Cape Town, 19th of November. Johannesburg, 20th of November. Durban, 26th of November. Get your tickets via Quicket while seats are available. Proceeds in aid of Children of the World Project. Contact 031 1100 573 or email info@pennyappeal.org.za. See you there. For Good Tour, brought to you by Penny Appeal South Africa.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities, conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities. Your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
You're with Najma Kota on Mid Morning Talk. My guest Hafsa is with us live from the UK, talking to us about Islamic tourism, and we are focused on Tanzania this morning. Hafsa, can you detail for us what it's like to tour the Serengeti National Park?
So the Serengeti. You asked before we went on the break, when is the best time to go? So like anywhere else in Tanzania, it's an all year round destination. But because of what it's famous for, the Great Migration, the best time, the most popular time is when the river crossing, after they've just had their offspring in our spring here, which is May, June, and then people go there June and July. You just witness the most dramatic events I can't
nature can offer. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but how does it's always shown from above when we see this in documentaries, but how does one actually get to experience it?
Well, in person, especially if it's your first times to see the wilderness, it will be absolutely overwhelming for you, because it's just that, especially if you see another animal, it's nature eating another animal, or that much dust, or that impact, because you can actually feel it in your vehicle when they just move. You feel the impact.
Okay.
I definitely, if you haven't seen it, Najma, it is a place to see, inshallah. And there are amazing accommodations, and there are plenty of halal food. So if you want to experience the best of Serengetis, you get into a mobile camp. So you just move from one place to another with the wildebeest. Inshallah, I can see it there.
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine what, I'm African. So we know the wildlife, we're familiar, but this is on a completely different scale in terms of the experience, the adventure, and witnessing one of nature's most overwhelming, dramatic
it absolutely is. And no matter how many times I go back there, especially with someone who's never been before, so I get to experience it with them. I can't get over it.
So when you spoke about accommodation, you cannot, I suppose, station yourself somewhere and then go on game drives, as it were. You're saying you'd rather move with a caravan, so to speak, or a camping vehicle. Yeah.
I have to apologize. Your line broke there.
Okay. Now, we're saying that in terms of accommodation, would you advise, or are you saying that it is best to rather travel on the camp, or can one be stationed in one of the? Because you spoke about the accommodations, just detail a bit more in terms of the accommodation.
You can, if you choose, because some people, especially clients that have family, multi-generational family, they have a very busy lifestyle where they just want to go somewhere and relax and not move around camps, or if you're elderly as well. So there are permanent lodges and camps that are just through where all the animals pass through the river. And I personally would have because I would have gotten into I would have chosen the migration camp, the mobile camp.
Definitely.
Yes.
And in terms of food and everything else, is it all taken care of during this camp trip?
Yeah. So because of how remote it is, your vehicle, accommodation, your tour guide, everything, I absolutely recommend to have that prearranged, because it's not in the middle of the city where you can just pop out for dinner and come back. You have to have all that prearranged by a specialist, whatever you are. If you're in the UK, I'll be more than happy to do that. So and everything, we usually ask if you have any, if it's allergy, and mostly because of our clients, it's halal meal, and it's available in plentiful.
Great. What are the main dishes that one can try in that country?
Again, depends on where you are. So let's say Arusha, on most places that are not the coastal area, I can see have nyama choma there. That is like a barbecue. I would say your version of braai. I hope I pronounced that right.
You did.
So that is a personal favorite, with a bit of salad, and you have your lemonade, and pretty much my day's made. Alhamdulillah.
Wonderful. I think you've already tempted me, definitely, but I'm sure everyone listening this morning to venture out to the other parts of Tanzania.
Yes,
inshallah. Yeah, thank you very much, Jazakallah khair, for your time this morning, Hafsa.
Thank you so much, Najma.
Yeah, before we close, is there any other important fact that we may have missed in terms of the tourism in that country?
So there is, when you introduced this lovely country, there is a lot of must see. Kilimanjaro, Serengeti. There are more islands than Zanzibar in the country, but like everywhere, what makes a country beautiful is the people. They're generous and happy and welcoming. It doesn't matter where you go. And whichever city you are, as a Muslim, you'll always find a mosque. You'll always find a Muslim brother and sister there in the country. Yeah. And a bit of fun fact, Tanzania for your South African listener, has the same national anthem as South Africa.
Really? I didn't know that.
I was in Cape Town a few years ago, and I was crossing the ferry from Cape Town to Prison Island, Robben Island. Yes. And I heard the music. So what's happening? And I had to Google even the words matched. A few words here and there because of language and translation, but it's absolutely. I was gobsmacked and actually happy. Felt like home.
So am I. So how did that happen? Very quickly. Do you know?
I honestly, this is just a wild guess and a very short history. It's probably the relationship they had between Mandela and the Tanzanian president, the late Nyerere. That's my guess, but I don't want to confirm it. I'm going to search you after this interview.
I'm going to do that as well. Well, thank you so much. So we have some connections here, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. Small world, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, thank you once again. And I hope that your industry grows faster and becomes more of an interest for even non-Muslims, because I think that would be quite an authentic experience for them. In terms of the misconceptions, like you said, about halal, and it's a different experience altogether.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
Great. I had
Yeah,
that
yeah.
much fun. I think the better fun would be, Hafsa, if we both go to the Serengeti together.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Let me know when we'll go together.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khair. You're welcome.
Jazakallah. Salam
Okay.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. When we come back, we speak to Professor Carol N. Ben. She is our guest for our profile interview this morning. Of course, we talk about her life and her commitment to clinical excellence in the field of medical specialty. Looking forward to that.